Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today we are going to be going over WandaVision episodes 7 and 8. So this Friday is the finale, episode 9. And so I wanted to kind of break down episodes 7 and 8 and kind of get you ready for what to expect in episode 9. Although honestly, I have no idea. It's going to be crazy. I think it's going to be pretty awesome, hopefully. So in episode 7, we see the aftermath of the Halloween episode where Vision investigates, he leaves, he almost dies, and Pietro talks to Wanda, and the kids kind of find their powers. And it's funny because episode 7 has an introduction that is very similar to the Office intro, and then they mimic the Modern Family style, which is kind of similar to The Office where they do interviews, but it's slightly different, and it does have more of a Modern Family twist to it. And so it's really fun to see that. And Wanda is just exhausted. She is just kind of losing it. She knows that she doesn't have the kind of control and power that she thought she had, and then Vision is gone, and her kids are realizing that some things are kind of off as they're playing video games. Or video games change, GameCube to like Nintendo, and then to Uno cards, and everything's kind of wigging out around them. And so they're asking me like, "Hey mom, what is going on?" And she's like, I don't know, don't worry about it. Like, have you seen your dad? I'm like, no. And she's like, okay. And she's just kind of had it. And just as she's like realizing that she needs a break, she opens up the door magically, and then Agnes walks in and is like, "Hey neighbor, how's it going?" And she's like, "Ooh, it looks like you could use some help." And Wanda's like, "Hey, can you take the kids?" She's like, "Of course I can take the kids. That would be great. I'll take Billy and Tommy. It won't be a problem. You just take care of yourself because you're looking like a bit of a mess." And so Wanda's like, "Oh yes, I need to just kind of have some me time." So she's getting some cereal, and on her, she's pouring the milk carton, and the milk carton starts changing. And then one of the changes, it shows a missing child picture on it. And I think that's pretty key because we kind of have had some references to children throughout the season, as well as, this whole thing started with a missing person case. So I think that's pretty important, and will tie in, maybe not into the last episode, but I think maybe into Doctor Strange 2, where we kind of see the big villain. And hopefully we find out who the big villain is in this last episode, in episode 9, but we'll see, fingers crossed. While Wanda is trying to stabilize everything that's changing around her, she's realizing that she's kind of lost control, and she's kind of starting to lose it. In the meantime, Vision is trying to figure out what is going on. He finds Darcy, and he sees Darcy, and he's like, "Hey, you tried to save me like last night. Like, I felt like we had a connection, like we knew each other." And she's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And that's because when she entered the Hex, she became this new character that Wanda controlled, and she doesn't remember anything. So Vision kind of does this thing where he touches her, and she remembers. And they kind of are like, "Okay, yeah, we gotta stop Wanda. We gotta figure out what's going on." And they try to make their way to Wanda, but all these obstacles keep coming in, and Vision starts to think that's Wanda that's trying to keep him away. But I actually don't think it is. I think it's something else that we'll get to in a little bit. And that is kind of pulling the strings and wanting to keep Vision away from Wanda. And in the meantime, Monica is like, "Hey, I need to get in. I need to figure out how I can help Wanda and kind of solve all of this." And she has a special machine. She's trying to get in. Doesn't work. So she's like, "You know what? Forget it. I'm going to do it myself. Girl power. I'm going in despite all the risks." And she starts going in despite everyone's protests. And she's getting in. And as she's going through the Hex field, we kind of see all these memories going through, all these flashbacks, voices of her mom, and we kind of see her start to get her powers. And as she gets through, then she starts able to see a wide spectrum, and she's able to see like energy and things like that. And hopefully we'll be able to see more of her powers and her new abilities in episode 9. And so we see a little slight glimpse of it when she confronts Wanda, and Wanda throws her out, and she's able to kind of do a power hero landing that we all know is bad for the knees. And so we kind of see a little glimpse, but not much. Before Monica and Wanda can really duel it out, and Monica can really talk sense to Wanda, her good neighbor Agnes comes in, and it's like, hey, you know what? You attacked her, like, she's fine. You stay away from her. And she brings Wanda into her home, and you find out that the kids, Billy and Tommy, aren't anywhere to be found. And so Wanda's like, where are the kids? And Agnes is like, oh, I think they're downstairs. So she goes downstairs, and it is creepy. It is very creepy. It slowly like turns stone walls and vines, and there's these rune symbols in the corners, and she sees this magical book, which I think we'll learn more about in episode 9, hopefully. So, but it looks really powerful, looks really cool. We'll see. And as Wanda's like, what the heck is going on here? Agnes shows up, and she's like, oh, you don't think you're the only magical one here, darling. My name is Agatha, and I'm a witch too. And it kind of ends. And then there's a mid-credit scene where Monica is like, no, I'm gonna go check out what's going on with Wanda. She goes to the cellar doors, opens it. There's some purple magic vines glowing, and then we see Pietro show up. I'm like, hey, what do you think you're doing? And so we actually don't get anything with that in episode 8, and so I'm assuming that'll be in episode 9. So I'm also excited for that. So in episode 8, we kind of pick up a little bit where we left off. We get a little bit more background information on Agnes, aka Agatha. And so Agatha is a witch, and we see her back in the Salem witch trial days, and ironically, her fellow witches, her coven, are putting her on trial for using dark magic, and she ends up overpowering them and kills them, kind of takes over. And so we kind of see what her motives are from this entire series. We see that she's been controlling things from the get-go, from behind the scenes, bringing Pietro in. We actually find out something really interesting that she says, is that she brings in Pietro to try to get more information from Wanda, and rather than bringing her dead brother back to life using necromancy, she uses this other ability. So, but it sounds like she kind of brings in a different Pietro. Hopefully from the Fox universe, brings him in because he's alive and not riddled with bullet holes and buried super far, like buried underground and all that. So it might be easier for her. But also some people are out there thinking it's just some random person, and that Kevin Feige was just trying to tease us with having kind of a cameo, but it's actually not the same character. So I hope that's not the case, because that'd be kind of disappointing, but we'll see. Hopefully in episode 9. And so we find out that she has been trying to manipulate Wanda into revealing to her how she's able to do all of this, how she's able to make this hex, how she's able to control all these different people unconsciously, while also being able to bring people back to life and creating life. So she brings Vision back to life, which we find out is not with his body, like Hayward was saying. And we find out that Hayward was lying the whole time, and that he actually invited Wanda in to see the body to try to bring him back to life. And he even tries to plant the idea into her head. And he's like, oh yeah, I know you want to bring him back to life. And she's like, I didn't say that. I just wanted to bury him. And he's like, oh, well, I mean, bringing him back to life would be good. Like, it's totally understandable why you want to do that. And so he really wants Vision back to life. And we find out that he wants to weaponize him. He wants to be able to control him, and weaponize him, and we have a really cool tease of that at the very end of how that ties in. Agatha is just like, how are you doing this? Like, what kind of powers? Like, how did you train? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And so Agatha's like, ugh, girl, like, I know you're a witch. Just like, tell me. And she's like, I seriously have no idea what you're talking about. I think things and do it. And she's like, let's go into your memories and kind of find out. So we get some past information about Wanda's life, and we kind of see a few things that we kind of knew from Age of Ultron from what we saw. But there's a really cool scene where Wanda is with Hydra, and they put her in a room with the Mind Stone, and we see interact with her and kind of reveal a vision to her of an outline, a silhouette of her her Scarlet Witch self from the comic books. So I don't know if this is like a vision of the future for her, or if it's an alternative version, an alternate universe version of her, or what it might be. But I thought that was pretty cool, and I think that will tie in somewhere in the future. And it kind of ties into the very end, where Agatha realizes that the reason why Wanda's able to do all this is because she is what is known as the Scarlet Witch, someone that can use chaos magic. And so I'm really excited to see where that goes, and hopefully there's a big fight or something, or we kind of see the bigger picture, a bigger villain, hopefully, but we'll see. I have no idea, to be honest. It could go either way. It could be really disappointing, or it could be really good. We'll see. There's also been, like, we've had so many questions throughout this entire season, and we're all like wanting all these answers, and if it's only 45 minutes long, I don't think we'll get those answers. Also, there's also the mid-credit scene at the end of episode 8, where we see that Hayward has finally been able to bring back Vision's body to life by using magic from Wanda's use of it on the drum that they were able to send into the hex. And there's some residual chaos magic on it, and he's able to use that magic to bring the corpse back to life. And so we see a white Vision that wakes up and is alive, and that Hayward wants to send in to presumably kill Wanda. And so I feel like there's all these things that are going to happen, and we know that WandaVision is supposed to tie in and kind of set up Doctor Strange 2, but we haven't really seen that much of that. And so there's just so many questions and so many things we want to know about, and like Monica's powers and what happened with Pietro and her, and if Pietro is actually from the Fox universe brought in by Agatha, or if it's just some random dude that kind of to tease us a little bit and pretty much tick us all off. And there's just so many things, and so I just don't know how they would be able to fit all that into 45 minutes. And so hopefully it's 2 hours. I doubt it, but please like, comment, subscribe to this video if you want to see more videos like this, and what you think is going to happen in the finale. I want to hear your guys' ideas and thoughts, because I think we're going to go for a ride. So please let me know what you guys think. Alright guys, hope you have a good one. I'll see you next time.